employees. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Secretary. Let me start off. This is something you knew was going to come up. I was going to have to comment on. The proposal to build a 400-turbine wind-generating facility in Idaho's Magic Valley has been met with almost unanimous opposition from local residents. These would be the largest wind turbines on land in the United States. They are taller than the Washington Monument. They're taller than the Seattle Space Needle, 400 of them. I have yet to talk to one Magic Valley resident who supports it. As the voice of my constituents, I have been a very strong local opponent of the Lavaridge wind project and have advocated for the Bureau of Land Management to listen to Idaho's concerns. To force the BLM to slow down and acknowledge the concerns of impacted communities, I included language in the 24 appropriation legislation stopping the project from moving forward until BLM consults with local elected officials and stakeholders on actions, alternative actions to reduce the impact to wildlife, cultural resources, and other assets. Can you walk me through what the agency has done since the enactment of the 2024 bill to adhere to the requirements of the Idaho wind provision? What elected officials have stakeholders have you consulted with since March 9th, and what feedback and concerns have they shared with you, and how do you plan to incorporate those concerns before moving forward?
Thank you for the question, Chairman, and appreciate also the conversation that we had yesterday on this issue. So roughly 26 government-to-government consultation meetings with tribes have happened. We've had at least 19 meetings with county commissioners from Lincoln, Jerome, and Minidoka counties, 14 briefings for members of Congress or their staff, 6 meetings with local organizations, 4 meetings with grazing permittees and other members of the agricultural community, 6 public meetings on the draft environmental impact statement, numerous engagements with Japanese American community, and many more. We appreciate your concern and your communication with us, and we're working to meet the direction to conduct additional consultations with local elected officials and stakeholders. This issue is not completed yet. It is ongoing. There is still more conversations and work to be had. And we'll obviously stay in touch with you as it moves forward.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the consultation with the local community. This goes without saying, but I expect BLM to listen to the concerns of Idahoans directly affected by the proposed Lavaridge wind project and give those concerns considerable weight in the development of the final EIS. Local officials, affected farmers, tribes, and the Japanese American community have raised serious concerns, and their voices need to be heard. I support an all of the above approach to energy development, but this administration cannot continue to unilaterally ram through renewable energy projects with no local support and with no forethought for their impact on these important land uses. The Lavaridge wind project is out of touch with Idahoans, and I remain committed to taking significant actions to put the people of Idaho first. So thank you for that. Sage grouse management plan. Since 2015, I've included language in the annual interior spending bills prohibiting the greater sage grouse from being listed under the Endangered Species Act, and Congress has directed BLM to work collaboratively with states, private landowners, and other stakeholders to conserve sage grouse habitat. In 2015, Idaho adopted the collaboratively developed Idaho Sage Grouse Management Plan as the state's official policy for sage grouse management. The original plan has been updated to provide a balanced approach for the species and the people of Idaho. Since 2015, the state of Idaho has spent over $5 million to increase data on sage grouse populations and enhance over 76,000 acres of sage grouse habitat. These efforts aren't unique to Idaho. Other states have worked just as tirelessly and dedicated significant state resources to avoid the need for federal rulemaking. Despite these efforts, on March 15, 2024, the Department published proposals regarding greater sage grouse habitat. The threat of an ESA listing and overly restrictive federal land use plans undermines the collaborative work being done to manage sage grouse habitats at the local level by the individuals who work, live, and recreate on Idaho's land. More so, the proposals will have drastic effects on grazing permittees, resource development, timber harvesters, recreators whose livelihoods depend on responsible management of our federal lands. Question 1. And let me tell you how we got here, because people think that I don't care about sage grouse and maintaining the fact that I don't want them to go to extinct or anything else. When this became an issue, former Secretary Salazar came to me and said, you know, what we need to do is have the states develop management plans. And so all of the states, the 11 western states, put together these collaborative efforts that included federal land management agencies, local ranchers, recreationists, others, stakeholders. And they came up with what they believed to be good state management plans that they could live with. And Idaho's plan was actually rated as co-equal with the BLM's plan. And we all know that you're not going to save sage-grouse habitat if you don't get private landowners involved, because a lot of the habitat is on private lands. And so they had an interest in this, and they worked very hard with the state and the committee to accomplish that. And now we come in, and I will tell you that and the reason I include language to not list them is that if all of a sudden you listed them, those people that participated in developing a sage-grouse management plan are going to say, I'm done, I'm out of here. And that's going to hurt trying to save sage-grouse habitat and stuff. So that's my concern with listing, and that's why I put the language in there that I have had. Is the department's position that a one-size-fits-all approach to conservation outweighs unique plans that consider and incorporate the specific threats to that locality? And can you explain the department's process leading to the necessity for this proposal, and what is the timing and plan for this proposal?
Thank you very much, Chairman. And it's been my experience with the department that we value very much local input, state input. We feel those folks know better. They live on the land and they know things that we don't know. So we are transparent and very collaborative when it comes to that. With respect to the plan itself, we published a draft EIS for the Greater Sage Grouse Plan in March. The comment period ends this June 13th. We aim to complete a revised plan amendments by the end of this year, 2024. We're working with partners, with BLM identified specific Greater Sage Grouse Plan decisions to consider amending to incorporate new science. All other existing decisions remain in the plans unchanged, and DOI remains committed to reversing the downward trend in Greater Sage Grouse populations on BLM managed lands.
Let me suggest that when this comes out, you need to incorporate not just the comments and stuff and listen to the comments from people, but get together a working group and say, okay, how are we going to implement that if that's the way we're moving forward on this, and what's the impacts going to be, and what are the impacts on onshore energy production and mineral development? Because you know one of the most critical problems we're facing in this country right now is the supply chain for critical minerals that we get from our adversaries, frankly. We have those resources in this country. Most of them are on public lands, though. But trying to get access to those resources is sometimes very, very difficult. All of those things need to be taken into consideration if you're going to change the sage grouse plan. But as I said, my biggest concern is that it involves local people, because you're not going to save sage grouse habitat if you don't have private landowners involved in it.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Pingree?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I brought this up in my opening remarks, but I want to just talk a little bit about tribal climate resilience funding. I guess we know tribal climate resilience needs are as diverse as climate impacts seem to affect each tribe.